The sky was dark with distant fires. On the world of Viridian, war raged between human colonists and the alien kingdom of Arkal. For months, both sides fought hard. The battlefields lay strewn with broken ships and shattered lives. King Arlen of Arkal stood on a high balcony of his crystal palace. His golden armor reflected flickers of flame from the horizon. He closed his eyes and whispered his daughter's name, Myra. She was a bright spirit, a curious soul who loved silver gardens and the songs of desert birds. Arlen had sent her far. From the capital when the war first began. He hoped to keep her safe. When the raid came, he learned the ship carrying her had been lost. No survivors were found. That moment changed the king. His proud posture bowed under sorrow. He vowed to crush the human invaders and bring his daughter home if she still lived. Generals placed their hands on his shoulders. They spoke in hushed tones of battle plans, but Arlen heard only echoes of his lost child's laughter. Soldiers marched through the city gates, carrying relics from fallen outposts. Each report they made cut like a knife. The colonists pressed forward, taking moons and mines. Arkal's frontier world of Destra had fallen, and its people were scattered in the human camp. Private Ethan Smith cleaned his rifle by the dim light of a dying lantern. He was young and quiet. He came from Earth's Midwest, where the air smelled of wheat and fresh rain. Here, the air tasted of metal and dust. Ethan had seen friends fall to laser fire and acid storms. He missed simple mornings with his mothers, coffee and his sister's smile, but he held fast to duty. He thought of home to survive each day. One evening, scouts spotted movement beyond their barricades. Ethan and his squad crawled through ruined towers to investigate. They found tracks leading into a collapsed tunnel. Inside, the walls glowed with strange runes. Ethan's heart pounded when he saw a figure in royal robes lying by the rubble. Her skin was pale violet. Her hair shimmered like starlight. She looked young, no older than 20 summers. A broken communicator lay by her side. She lay still, breath shallow but steady. Ethan checked for traps. Then he lifted her gently. She shifted, her large eyes opening. They glowed with confusion. "Are you hurt?" Ethan asked softly. Myra tried to speak but could not. She whispered sounds that made no sense to Ethan. He knelt and brushed dust from her cheek. She touched his hand and he felt a spark of hope. He carried her out, calling for medics. Colonel Mary Bell, the camp surgeon, took Myra to the infirmary tent. She moved swiftly, clearing beds for the alien. A nurse handed her gels and instruments. As Bell worked, Myra lay on a curved cot, breathing slowly. Bell could not read the alien language, but she saw kindness in the girl's face. When Myra opened her eyes again, she saw Ethan standing by the tent entrance. She tried to smile. He gave a small nod and she relaxed. Bell checked her wounds. Minor fractures and scraps of armor were the worst of it. Bell said, "You will live? Rest now." Myra closed her eyes. Ethan watched the alien princes with a mixture of wonder and fear. He had killed Arkal troops. He had seen their cruelty. Yet here lay a daughter of their king, as innocent as a lost child. Ethan felt his world shift. For days, Myra lay in recovery. She learned basic human words from nurses. "Hello," she repeated. "Thank you." Each day she grew stronger. Ethan visited often. He brought water and simple food. He showed her pictures of earth fields, rivers, and warm suns. She pointed to each and made a soft humming noise that sounded like music. One dawn, a warning alarm rang. Enemy patrols had discovered the camp's location. Ethan helped Bell secure the infirmary. She strapped Myra to a field stretcher. Smoke rose in the distance as artillery fire shook the ground. Ethan and Bell carried Myra through chaos. Bullets hissed past. Medics and soldiers scrambled. Myra's wide eyes followed Ethan's calm face. He spoke softly. "Hold tight. We will keep you safe." They burst from the tent line into open ground. Human tanks rolled in to push back attackers. Ethan shielded Myra as they reached a transport shuttle. The engines roared. Ethan loaded her inside and climbed in himself. The hatch closed. Inside, lights blinked on control panels. Myra's hand found Ethan's arm. She pressed. He nodded. The shuttle lifted, carrying them away from fire and death. Through the window, red skies faded to blue dot in the cabin's hush. Ethan knelt beside Myra. He asked, "Can you tell me your name?" Myra said, "Myra," he smiled. "I am Ethan. I will help you get home." Myra nodded and closed her eyes. Ethan studied her calm face. He thought of his home world and the fields of gold. He thought of the king who waited for his lost daughter. A promise formed in his mind. He would return the princess to her father. Outside, stars wheeled past the shuttle's viewport. Two worlds moved toward peace or destruction. Inside, a human and an alien began a bond that neither had imagined. War had torn them apart, but hope would guide them onward. Minutes later, the shuttle's pilot spoke over the intercom. "We approach the base. Prepare for landing." Ethan stood and steadied Myra. The shuttle shuddered as it entered atmosphere. Red sand and jagged mountains came into view. Below, human defenses held firm. The shuttle set down with a thud. Ramp lowered. Medics rushed in. Bella waited by the ramp. She greeted Ethan. "We have a secure room ready. Follow me." They carried Myra inside a small building. Belle turned to Ethan. "You did well." "She is safe now," Ethan nodded. "We will need to move soon." "They will?" "Search." Belle placed a gentle hand on his shoulder. "She needs rest. I will guard her." "You should eat and sleep." "Tomorrow we plan," he agreed and left. Outside, he saw soldiers training under twin suns. He wondered how they would react to learning their enemy's princes lay healed among them. Inside the quiet room, Myra stirred. Belle sat by her side, reading a human storybook. Myra pointed to a drawing of a girl by a river. Belle read aloud. "The girl found her way home by following the river's song." Myra smiled softly and lifted her hand. Belle placed a small band of soft cloth on her wrist. It matched a ribbon in Myra's violet hair. Myra spoke one word. "Home," Belle nodded. "We will help you find home." Myra closed her eyes, resting. Outside, Ethan sat under a starlit sky. He thought of Princess Myra, her strange language, her gentle trust. He whispered into the night, "We will get you home." The sky was clear as the transport shuttle left the human base. Ethan Smith sat beside Princess Myra and watched the stars. He remembered the first time he saw her in the ruined tunnel. She had looked lost and afraid. Now she closed her eyes and leaned on a soft pillow. Her breathing was steady. After many hours, the shuttle landed at a hidden outpost on a neutral moon. Soldiers opened the hatch and carried Myra inside a clean chamber. Ethan followed. The room had soft lights and smooth walls. A doctor in a white coat waited. Dr. Kelly Ortega greeted them. She spoke with calm voice. "We keep her here until we find a safe way to send her home." Myra opened her eyes. She looked at Ethan and whispered a word that sounded like home. Ethan nodded. He brought her a cup of water. She sipped slowly. Outside the chamber, Ethan waited and walked slowly. He looked at stars and thought of King Arlen. The old king must still mourn his daughter. Ethan felt a weight of duty. He had promised to bring her back. For days, scientists tried to fix her communicator. They studied Arcal technology. Each morning, Ethan brought Myra fresh fruit and stories of Earth. He told her about rainforests, oceans, and gardens of bright flowers. She listened and smiled softly. Every evening, Myra practiced human words with a nurse. She learned simple phrases. "Thank you," she said. "I feel safe." Ethan felt his chest warm when he heard her gentle voice. One morning, alarms rang. The outpost went into alert. Samuels, the base commander, rushed in. He said, "We have human rebels attacking the supply depot." "We need support?" Ethan asked. "Will Myra be safe here?" Samuels nodded. "Your job is to stay here. I will lead troops to defend." Ethan wanted to fight, but he stayed. He watched as Myra worried. She clutched his sleeve. He held her hand. "I will be back soon," he said. Soldiers marched out. Explosions shook the ground. Smoke rose. Ethan sat by Myra and spoke softly. "They fight for home like you. We will protect them." Myra closed her eyes. She must rest, but she reached out and touched Ethan's cheek. After hours, the alarm stopped. Dr. Ortega smiled. They held the line. They will return soon. Ethan ran outside. He saw soldiers limping back. They carried wounded. He felt relief. He returned to Myra and said, "They are safe." Myra smiled. She said, "Thank you." Weeks passed. Engineers built a small shuttle. Its hull was marked with both human and Arkle symbols. It would fly to Arkle capital and land on secret pad. King Arlen would hear its call sign. One dawn, the shuttle was ready. Ethan led Myra into the cabin. She looked at the open door. She saw the pale sun rise over the gray moon surface. She whispered, "Home." Ethan nodded. He helped her onto a seat. She strapped in. He closed the hatch. Inside, the shuttle hummed. Myra held a small charma ribbon from her hair. She pressed it to her heart. Ethan watched her. He thought of his home back on Earth and his family. He felt hope and fear mixed. The pilot, Lieutenant Cho, announced, "We set course for Arkle capital. Estimated arrival in 10 hours. Rest if you can." Myra closed her eyes. Ethan sat beside her. He offered a blanket. She wrapped it around her shoulders and nodded. He checked the instruments in silence. Hours passed. The stars spun outside the window. Ethan slept for a time. When he awoke, Myra stood and looked out. She saw a blue-green planet below. Its surface glowed with cities and forests. Arkle was beautiful even from orbit. She turned to Ethan. "Land soon?" He smiled. "Yes, we will see your father." Myra nodded and sat down. She practiced human words. Father, peace, thank you. Each word was careful and soft. Below them, sensors found no threats. The shuttle began descent. Flames flickered around its heat shield. Inside, the cabin brightened. Myra held Ethan's hand. A hatch opened. They stepped onto a landing platform. White marble floors curved up to meet sky-blue walls. Statues of Arkle heroes stood silent. Myra's eyes filled with tears. Soldiers in gleaming armor stood in formation. At their head, General Zarek knelt. He rose and bowed deeply. Soldiers parted. A tall figure stood behind them, wearing royal robes. King Arlen's silver hair glowed. His face was pale with age, but his eyes burned with hope. Myra stepped forward. She spoke in her tongue. Arkle words rang clear. King Arlen's face changed. He stepped forward and knelt before his daughter. Myra dropped to one knee. She spoke. Again, King Arlen rose and swept her into his arms. Tears fell from his cheeks. He looked at Ethan. He spoke in broken human words. "Thank you." Ethan bowed his head. King Arlen turned to his guards. "Bring us wine and food. We will talk inside." Inside the palace hall, tapestries showed scenes of Arkle history. A long table waited with cups and bread. King Arlen and Myra sat side by side. Ethan took a seat across from them. King Arlen poured wine into a cup. He raised it. "To my daughter, returned." Myra drank and offered a cup to Ethan. She said, "To my friend." "Thank you." Ethan drank. He felt warmth from the wine and from her words. King Arlen studied Myra. "You lived among humans. What did you learn?" Myra looked at Ethan. She said, "They have courage. They care for each other. They dream of peace." King Arlen nodded. He turned to Ethan. "You saved her life at great risk? Why?" Ethan swallowed. He sighed. "Because I believe she deserved a chance. Because I believe all life matters." King Arlen's gaze held his. He rose. "You have my thanks and my trust. You are welcome in Arkle." He looked at his daughter. "We will end this war. Humans and Arkle will live together." Myra smiled. She reached for Ethan's hand. He placed his on hers. King Arlen raised his cup. Again, to peace. Old drank. Hours later, Ethan walked with Myra through palace gardens. Strange flowers glowed under violet lamps. Birds sang soft songs. Myra pointed to a fountain. Water shimmered like liquid light. She said, "This place reminds me of home." Ethan nodded. "It is beautiful." Myra turned to him. "Thank you, Ethan. You brought me home." He bowed his head. "It was my honor." They walked on. A new dawn rose over Arkle. War was over. 2 worlds had joined by one brave human and the princes he saved. Days passed since Princess Myra returned home. King Arlen and human leaders met in the Great Hall. Ethan Smith stood by Myra's side. They spoke of treaties and trade. Each day brought new challenges. After council ended, Myra walked through the palace gardens with Ethan. The flowers glowed under violet lamps. She breathed in deep. "This place feels alive again," she said. Ethan nodded. "Peace brings growth. Soon, fields will bloom and markets will open." Myra smiled. She touched his arm. "Thank you for helping me." Ethan looked at her. "You did all the hard work?" "I only kept you safe." She shook her head. "You gave me hope." They paused by a fountain. Water shone like liquid stars. Bridge guards watched from afar but did not disturb them. Later, Myra visited the armory. Soldiers trained under the skull of a fallen warship. She helped distribute supplies to human aid ships. Engineers repaired shuttles. Ethan joined her. He carried boxes of rations and medicine. They unloaded together. "Humans share many things," Ethan said. "Food, music, stories? They want to learn about your world, too." Myra looked at a crate of books. The covers showed alien art and human languages. "We will open libraries," she said, "so children learn both ways." In the barracks, soldier Jen Taylor awaited her. Jen had fought beside Arkle forces before the peace. Now she served with human medics. "Princess Myra," Jen said. She bowed. "I bring news. Some border towns still resist." "They fear betrayal," Myra frowned. "I will speak with them." Ethan stepped forward. "I go with you." Myra placed her hand on his arm. Together. Next dawn, they rode to the edge of the kingdom. Pale sun rose over sandy plains. Small villages lay scattered among rocky hills. In the first town, crowds gathered. Men and women held old banners of war. Their faces showed anger and doubt. Myra dismounted. She wore simple robes and no crown. She bowed low. "People of Destra," she said, speaking their language. "I return with a human who saved my life. He bridges our worlds. I ask you to join me in peace." A man named Kiro stepped forward. His face was weathered. He spat on the ground. "A human saved you. He is our enemy." "Why trust them now?" Myra rose and met his eyes. "Because I saw kindness in his actions. I learned humans can care. They can protect. I ask you to see this truth." Silence fell. Ethan spoke softly. "We offer you food, medicine, and safety. No more war." Kiro looked at the villagers. Some lowered their spears. Others held them tight. Myra lifted her voice. "Join me, and we will rebuild together. Schools, farms, and homes. I promise to stand by you." A child stepped forward. She held a broken toy, a small metal bird that once flew in the sky. Myra knelt and took the bird. She pressed it to her heart. "We will make new toys and new skies," she said. She handed it back. The child smiled and hugged the toy. Villagers whispered. Kero nodded and lowered his spear. "We will listen." A cheer rose. People approached Myra and Ethan. They shook hands and embraced. Myra and Ethan stayed until dusk. They shared meals with villagers. They heard stories of loss and hope. That night they camped under starlit sky. Fires burned low. Myra and Ethan sat by the flames. "This work is harder than war," Myra said. Ethan nodded. "Peace requires trust." "It takes time." Myra looked at him. "I am glad you are here." He smiled. "I am honored to help." They slept contnty. In following weeks, Myra and Ethan traveled to other towns. Each place greeted them with caution. Each place ended with hope. Soldiers turned their weapons into tools. Blacksmiths shaped plowshares from swords. Medics healed old wounds. In one city, humans and Arkle worked side by side to build a school. Children painted murals of stars and forests. Myra cut the ribbon at opening. She gave a short speech. "May this school teach us to understand each other. May it shape a future without fear." Children cheered and ran inside. Back at the capital, King Arlen watched from his balcony. He spoke to General Zarek. "My daughter travels with a human to heal our land. I see her strength and his heart. They are my hope." Zarek nodded. "Their bond brings peace alive. Soon, no one will remember war." Arlen placed a hand on Zarek's shoulder. "We must protect them. Dark forces may try to break this peace. But we are ready." Dark forces stirred beyond the border. Remnants of rebel warlords plotted to retake lands. They feared the new era. In a hidden camp, a warlord named Durak sharpened his blade. He glared at a map, towns now under peace marked in white. "We lost power," he growled. "We must strike before this girl and her human bring more hope," his followers agreed. They loaded weapons and horses. Myra sensed unrest from the council. She asked Ethan to accompany her back to the capital. When they arrived, they found Queen's Guard on alert. Soldiers patrolled streets. Citizens peered anxiously from windows. King Arlen greeted them in the throne room. His face was stern. "We have news of an attack planned by Durak," he said. "He will strike at dawn. You must help defend our people." Myra squared her shoulders. "I will stand with our armies." Ethan placed a hand on his rifle. "I stand with you." Soldiers formed lines. Arkall banners and human flags waved together. As dawn came, Durak's riders thundered toward the city. Archers took positions on walls. Myra and Ethan rode to the front lines. They joined General Zarek's forces. "Stay close to me," Ethan said. Myra nodded. Spears and arrows flew. Soldiers charged. Dust rose. Myra swung her blade with grace. Ethan fired his rifle with careful aim. Together they drove the attackers back. Durak confronted them. He roared and struck at Myra. She parried and kicked him away. Ethan fired a warning shot near his feet. Durak fell to one knee. Myra stepped forward. She pointed her sword at him. "This ends now." Durak dropped his weapon. Soldiers behind him laid down arms. Myra lowered her sword. Ethan holstered his rifle. King Arlen rode in with reinforcements. He dismounted and approached Durak. "You bring war to our door. You break peace. You will answer for this." Durak bowed his head. "I see now the truth of peace. I will serve this new age." Soldiers cheered. Myra turned to Ethan. "We did it," he smiled. "Together." As the sun rose, city bells rang. People came out to celebrate. Songs filled the air. Myra and Ethan walked through crowds. They heard words in many tongues. Thank you, freedom, hope. Children ran up to them. They gave flowers and small gifts. Myra knelt to talk with them. Ethan laughed and clapped. That night, the palace held a feast. Humans and Arkall broke bread together. Myra raised her cup. She spoke. "To all who stood for peace, to all who dream of better world. Tonight we celebrate our unity. Tomorrow we build our future." Cheers echoed. Ethan looked at Myra across the hall. He thought of the tunnel where he first found her. He thought of the journey they shared. He whispered, "I am proud of you." She heard him and smiled. Outside the palace, stars shone above twin moons. War had not ended nightmares, but in sleep people dreamed of bright mornings. Myra and Ethan sat on the balcony. She leaned on his shoulder. "What next?" she asked. He pointed to the sky. "We will explore other worlds together. We will share our story. We will stand for peace wherever it struggles." Myra nodded and closed her eyes. She whispered, "Home is here, with you." Ethan kissed her hair. "Home?" he said. Below them, the capital slept under lantern light. Two worlds had joined. Their story was just beginning. The morning sun bathed the Arkall capital in soft light. Princess Mera stood on the palace terrace, her violet hair catching the breeze. Beside her, Ethan Smith held a small device that showed a bright blue planet, Earth Myra had never seen. She felt excitement and fear. She turned to Ethan. "We will go there," he smiled. "Yes. My home world. My family waits to meet you." Myra nodded. She took a deep breath. "I will learn their ways. I will show them our peace." After breakfast, they walked through quiet halls. Guards bowed as they passed. King Arlen and Queen Sela met them in the council chamber. Sela offered Myra a hand. "My daughter," Sela said. "You have brought light to Arkall. Now we welcome you to Earth as our honored guest." Myra smiled and held Sela's hand. Then she turned to King Arlen. "Father, I will carry your hope." He placed a hand on her shoulder. "And I will send my trust. Ethan will lead you there." They left the palace and boarded a sleek shuttle marked with both flags. Scientists and diplomats gathered inside. Ethan sat with Myra in the front. He showed her controls and explained the journey. The shuttle lifted, rising above white towers and glittering domes. Onlookers waved as they reached orbit. Myra pressed her hand to the glass. She saw land, water, and clouds swirl below. She whispered, "So beautiful," Ethan nodded. "Earth will welcome you." Inside the shuttle's medbay, Dr. Ortega prepared a small examination room. She wanted to monitor Myra's health during the long flight. Myra lay on a soft bed and watched the stars. Ethan sat beside her, holding her hand. More days passed in silence. The ship glided through dark space. Myra learned Earth words from Ethan's tablet. Family, friend, home. Each word felt warm. One evening, alarms flashed. A hail came from ground control. The shuttle prepared to land at New York's spaceport. Below, lights of the city glittered like stars. The ship shuddered as it passed through atmosphere. Myra felt her heart pound. When the hatch opened, cool air rushed in. Myra stepped out into a large hangar. People in Earth clothing and Arco uniforms waited. A woman held a small boy. Ethan's mother. "Ethan!" she cried, rushing forward. Ethan hugged her. Tears fell down her cheeks. Myra watched, her heart full. Ethan introduced Myra. "Mother, this is Princess Myra of Arkal. She saved me. She brings peace." His mother smiled. She curtsied awkwardly. Myra bowed her head politely. The boy ran forward. "Hello," he said. "I am Liam." Myra knelt. "Hello, Liam." He offered his toy robot. Myra accepted and hugged him. Liam laughed and hugged her back. Soon guides led them outside. News cameras broadcast the arrival. Reporters asked questions in many languages. Ethan and Myra stood on a raised platform. Myra spoke first, her voice calm. "I come in peace. I thank Earth for its kindness. I bring my people's hope. Together we will build a new future." Ethan followed. "We share knowledge, music, and stories. We open doors between worlds. Let this day mark the start of true friendship." Crowds cheered, flags waved. Children held signs, peace, welcome, friendship. After speeches, a reception hall waited. Long tables held food from both worlds. Humans and aliens tasted dishes they had never seen. Myra tried a simple Earth meal, bread, cheese, and fruit. She smiled at the flavors. Ethan's single quotes father, Michael Smith, sat beside her. He offered apple pie. Myra laughed when she saw the steam. "Thank you," she said. He poured tea. "Welcome to Earth, princes." Myra sipped the tea. It was warm and sweet. She sighed happily. Later, musicians from Arkal played soft tunes on stringed instruments. Earth musicians joined with drums and flutes. Melodies blended. Myra danced with Liam. Ethan watched, his heart light. In the days that followed, Myra visited Earth schools. She stood before curious children in bright classrooms. They asked her many questions. What do your dragons look like? Can you ride on ships in space? What is a desert palace like? Myra answered with simple words. She showed them Arkal fabrics and small crystals that glowed. Children touched them gently. Wide-eyed. Afternoon tours took her to parks and rivers. Ethan guided her through a city on foot. She saw skyscrapers, cars, and colorful lights. One evening, they walked in Central Park. Fireflies sparkled. Myra held a leaf she loved. Your world is full of life, she said. I see why people love it, Ethan nodded, and I love your stories. I hear them in every moon's glow. Myra looked at him. Let me tell you more. Follow me. They found a small pond. She sat on a bench. She spoke Arkal tales of brave warriors in hidden temples. Ethan listened, enthralled. Her language was music to his ears. Across the pond, a young reporter approached. Princess Myra, what message do you have for people who fear aliens? Myra thought. She stood and spoke. Fear comes from not knowing. Learn our way, share your own. We are like you, we want to live, work, and love. Join us. People around nodded. Cameras recorded each word. The visit to Earth lasted weeks. Myra attended meetings at the United Nations. She sat at a round table with diplomats. She spoke with grace and honesty. In one meeting, a delegate said, Arkal and Earth have fought. Can we trust this peace? Myra answered, trust is built through action. We have shown we can care for each other's children. We have built schools and healed wounds. Trust grows when we work together. Environment ministers discussed joint projects to heal Earth's forests and Arkal's deserts. Health leaders planned to share cures from alien plants and Earth medicines. On the final day, a peace garden opened in Central Park. It had flowers from both worlds and a small fountain shaped like a double helix. Ethan and Myra cut the ribbon. Crowds clapped. Myra looked at Ethan. We did this together. He smiled. We saved each other. As the sun set, a shuttle waited. Myra would return home. She hugged Ethan's parents and Liam. I will come back, she promised. Ethan hugged her. I will wait. Inside the shuttle, Myra watched Earth shrink beneath her. Tears filled her eyes. Ethan placed a hand on her shoulder. We carry Earth's hope to Arkal. Myra wiped her tears. And we carry Arkal's promise back. The shuttle passed through clouds. Mirror stars surrounded them. On arrival, Arkal ships greeted them. Crowds cheered at the spaceport. King Arlen and Queen Sela waited. Soldiers and citizens lined the walkway. Myra disembarked first. She bowed deeply. Sela embraced her. Arlen placed a gentle hand on her cheek and looked at Ethan. You brought her home and taught her our peace. I offer you our gratitude and friendship. Ethan bowed. I accept with honor. Arches of flowers formed a path. Myra walked with Ethan to a grand platform. The crowd fell silent. Myra spoke. We have seen each other's worlds. We have shared kindness. From now on, Arkal and Earth will stand together. We will learn, grow, and protect each other. Peace is our path, crowds shouted, flags waved. Music filled the air. Later, a feast celebrated the return. Tables held dishes from both planets. People danced under twin moons in the sky. Myra and Ethan stood at the center. She wore a simple gown of Earth blue and Arkal silver. He wore a decorated uniform with badges from both worlds. She offered her hand. He took it. They turned toward the crowd. This is our future, Myra said. We will walk it as one. The night sky glowed with fireworks shaped like stars and blossoms. People cheered, their voices echoing across the palace grounds. As the final burst lit the sky, Myra rested her head on Ethan's shoulder. She whispered, home at last. He kissed her hair, always. Below, their people danced into a new dawn. Peace had been born from loss, but now it would live in every heart on both worlds. Peace settled over Arkal lands as seasons changed. Princess Myra and Private Ethan Smith worked side by side in the busy capital. They oversaw new farms where humans taught alien farmers irrigation. Arkal engineers helped Earth botanists grow desert flowers in greenhouse domes. Every morning, Myra walked through the market with Ethan. Merchants sold fruits from Earth and spices from Arkal. Children chased small drones that carried messages between stalls. Myra smiled at the laughter. One day, an ambassador from a nearby alien world arrived. Her name was Salia Thomar. She wore robes of deep green and carried a crystal staff. She joined the council meeting where Myra, Ethan, King Arlen, and Earth leaders sat at a round table. I have heard of your peace, Salia said. Her voice was soft and clear. My world watched your journey. We wish to join this alliance. King Arlen nodded. We welcome peace with Thomar. Ethan leaned toward Myra. This is good news. Myra replied, we grow stronger as we share hope. Diplomats from Earth and Arkal rose to greet Salia. They spoke in mixed languages. The council agreed to share technology and culture. After the meeting, Eva, the Earth ambassador, offered Salia fruit from Arkal orchards. Salia tasted it and smiled. So sweet and new, she said. Eva laughed. We have much to learn together. That afternoon, Ethan and Myra visited the new academy. It stood tall with glass walls. Inside, students of all species studied side by side. They learned science and art, history and language. Myra watched a class where human children taught Arkal children to draw Earth animals. The alien students sketched wild horses and blue birds. They smiled at each other's work. Ethan bent to speak with a small girl who showed him her drawing of a desert owl. He praised her lines. The girl beamed. Myra placed a hand on Ethan's back. Their friendship is growing, Ethan nodded. Education is our strongest bond? Late that night, Myra and Ethan walked in the palace gardens. Soft lights glowed under purple trees. They sat on a stone bench. I feel peace in my heart, Myra said. But I remember the war. Ethan held her hand. War was our past. Now we choose friendship. Myra looked up at the moons. I wonder what our children will see. Ethan smiled. They will know only unity. They sat quietly, listening to night birds. Weeks later, a festival marked the anniversary of Myra's return. Banners hung between towers. Music filled the air. Humans danced with aliens. Stalls sold food and crafts. Myra stood on a stage and spoke. Today we celebrate 1 year of peace. We honor those who fought for unity. And we look to the future with hope. Crowds cheered and threw flowers. Ethan joined her on stage. He raised her hand. To our peace, he said. As night fell, fireworks burst above twin moons. Shapes of stars, flowers, and ships lit the sky. Myra leaned into Ethan. Your world and mine shine together. He kissed her cheek, always. Next morning, reports arrived of a distant threat. A rogue fleet, once loyal to Dirac, was moving near the border. Their ships were old and small, but they carried weapons. King Arlen called the council. Soldiers and engineers gathered. Ethan and Myra joined plans to protect border towns. We face those who fear change, Myra said. We must show them our strength and peace, General Zarek agreed. We will send envoys with supplies and offer to open talks. Ethan added, I volunteer to lead a team. Myra placed her hand on his, and I will guide them. They set out on a shuttle toward the border. Our call fighters escorted them. Below stretched desert plains dotted with small villages. In a valley town, people looked to the sky. Myra stepped off with Ethan. She greeted the mayor, an old woman named Solina. Bowed. Princess, many fear rebel attacks. We need water and grain, Myra spoke gently. We bring help and safety. No soldier will harm you. Ethan opened supply crates. Villagers gasped at fresh water packs and bread. Children ran to fill pots. Solina embraced Myra. You keep your promise. Thank you, Myra smiled at Ethan. We are making change. That night, they camped by a riverbed under clear stars. Ethan built a small fire. Myra sat beside him. I'm proud of our work, she said. Ethan reached for her. We stand for peace. We show it by our deeds. Myra nodded, and we teach others hope. They held each other close. The next day, they flew to a rebel-controlled station. It glowed with red lights. Armed guards stood watch. Myra and Ethan approached. She held a white flag. She spoke in their language. We bring food and medicine. We asked to talk, not fight. Guards hesitated. They led them inside. Rebel leader Rona sat behind a metal table. Her face was hard, weapons rested by her side. Why should we trust you? Rona demanded. Myra met her gaze. Because we choose life over death. We help even those who doubt us. Ethan stepped forward. We carry out your wounded from the fields. We fix your ship's engines. Our people share their homes. Silence fell. Rona studied them. After moments she nodded. Help the injured, but no spies, Myra agreed. They spent days treating wounded soldiers and clearing wreckage. Slowly, rebel troops saw humans and Arkall working as one. One morning, Rona returned. She brought tea. She said, Your peace heals more than wounds. I will join talks. Myra and Ethan shared relieved smiles. Soon, rebel forces lowered their flags. Towns reopened. The border was safe. On their return, King Arlen greeted them. He placed medals of honor on their shoulders. For courage and unity, Arlen said. You both showed that peace is stronger than fear. Crowds cheered. That evening, Myra and Ethan stood on the palace terrace. Lights of the city glowed below. They saw humans and Arkall working late. Myra rested her head on Ethan's chest. We have built more than a peace. We built a family across worlds. Ethan kissed her hair. And tomorrow we build more. Stars shone above. The future was bright. Peace had grown from one human helping one lost princess. Now it spread across planets, touching every life. Their journey was not over. It was just beginning. Seasons changed again in the Arkall capital. Soft rains fell across the Silver Gardens. Princess Mara and Private Ethan Smith stood on a stone bridge over a lily pond. They watched petals float on water. "The rains bring new life," Myra said. Ethan nodded. "They wash away old wounds." Myra turned to him. "Our worlds have grown together. Now we shape our future." Ethan smiled and took her hand. "What will you do today?" She looked ahead. "Visit the memory hall. I want to honor those we lost. Will you come?" He bowed. "I will walk with you." They crossed the bridge and entered a tall building of glass and stone. Inside, walls held memorial plaques, each name shone under gentle lights. Pictures of fallen soldiers Arkall and human lined the halls. Myra knelt before a plaque with her name etched faintly. Under it, words read, assumed lost in battle. Tears formed in her eyes. She touched the letters. Ethan placed a hand on her shoulder. "You are here. You returned." She stood and led him deeper into the hall. They reached a section dedicated to human soldiers. Ethan found his friend, Private Lucas Reed. Lucas had fallen in the Desert War. Ethan's gaze held the name. He whispered, "Rest well, brother. We honor you." Myra watched. Memories of wounded knights and firefights came back to both. Silence filled the room. "We will remember them," Myra said. "And we will build peace in their names," Ethan nodded. They live in our work. Myra led him out into sunshine. They walked through palace corridors toward the training ground. There, young recruits human and alien learned tactics and teamwork. Instructors guided them. Soldiers carried wooden shields and laser rifles. Myra and Ethan watched as recruits helped each other through obstacle courses. Myra pointed. "They know unity now. They learn that strength lies in trust." Ethan smiled. "They will carry this forward." 1. Recruit ran up to them. She was a young girl with violet skin. She bowed. "Princess, sir, may I speak?" Myra knelt. "Of course." "What is your name?" "Amara," the girl replied. "I lost my home in the early war. Your peace gave me a future. I want to protect it." Myra touched her cheek. "Brave Amara. You will do great things. Stay true." Amara saluted and ran back. Myra watched her go. Later, Ethan and Myra entered a council meeting. Delegates from Earth, Arkall, and Thomar surrounded a crystalline table. They discussed a trade route through asteroid fields. "This route will bring medicine and food to border worlds," Myra said. "It will unite our supply lines." An Arkall engineer agreed. "We need safe navigation. We must map the fields." A human pilot, Captain Lee, spoke. "I volunteer my crew." "We chart the path and share data," all agreed. Plans formed quickly. After the meeting, Ethan and Myra walked in a corridor lined with tapestries showing Arkall history. One tapestry showed Myra's rescue. "I never imagined this path," Myra said softly. Ethan squeezed her hand. "You shaped it with courage," Myra looked at him. "And you shaped it with kindness." They paused by a panel showing Earth's first fleet arriving. She read the words, "Friendship across stars." Ethan read aloud, "May this bond never break." She smiled. "May our trust grow." That night, a festival lit the capital. Lanterns hung from trees. Music filled the air. Humans and Arkall danced together in pairs. Myra and Ethan joined a circle dance. She wore a gown of deep violet. He wore a formal uniform with medals. As they danced, she looked around. Faces of many races smiled. Children laughed. "Look at them," she whispered. "This is our gift." Ethan nodded. "We gave them hope. They carry it onward." The music slowed. Dancers joined hands. Myra and Ethan remained in the center. Silence fell as the conductor lifted his baton. A simple melody began notes. From Arkall and Earth combined. Myra closed her eyes and let the music wash over her. She felt warmth, joy, and peace. When the song ended, fireworks erupted. Shapes of planets and flowers bloomed in the sky. Crowds cheered and embraced. Myra and Ethan kissed under the lights. Later, they walked to a terrace overlook. Twin moons shone in the sky. Myra sat on a bench. Ethan knelt before her and drew a small box from his pocket. Inside lay a ring of woven silver and blue crystal. "Myra," he said, "you brought me hope and changed my life. Will you stand with me always?" Her eyes filled with tears. She nodded. Yes. He placed the ring on her finger. They embraced. Below, the capital glowed. Two worlds stood together under endless stars. War had taken so much, but love and peace had given more. Myra and Ethan prepared for new journeys, exploring distant galaxies, forging new alliances, and building a future where all life was valued. In the heart of the palace garden, the silver lily bloomed. Their petals reflected the light of both moons, and there, in that gentle glow, a human and an alien princess began the next chapter of their shared story.